Good afternoon, everyone, to the second lecture of the Spring 2021 lecture series with Patricia Urquiola, and we're thrilled to have her joining us at the school today. Just a couple of housekeeping. If you could go on video, just so that she can see everyone, at least for a brief moment before she starts, and see the great group that we have assembled today. Stay tuned to the social media channels and the UTSOA website for additional information on upcoming lectures. We have another lecture on Wednesday with Grafton Architects. So I'm pleased to invite Nerea Feliz to do the introductions today. Nerea is assistant professor in the School of Architecture. Thank you, Nerea.
Hi everybody. Welcome to the Wilson Art Endowed Lecture in Interior Design. Our School of Architecture is home to several disciplines across the built environment. And today we're very fortunate to have a speaker whose career spans product design, textile, interior design, architecture, art direction, and art curatorship. Patricia Urquiola's body of work is not confined to one scale or medium. She moves fluidly across disciplines, something that is a lot easier said than done. Her comprehensive view of design and the diversity of her projects provide an inspiring perspective to examine the built environment through many possible lenses for all of us here at the Architecture School. Originally from Spain, Patricia Urquiola studied architecture at the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid and completed her studies at the Politecnico di Milano, where she graduated. Her early career working with design figures such as Castiglioni, Magistretti, and Lissoni marked her design attitude. In 2001, she founded Studio Urquiola with her partner Alberto Zontone. Studio Urquiola creates unique designs for the most important Italian and international companies such as Moroso, Mutina, Alessi, B&B Italia, and Cartel, among others. She has served as the Cassina's art director since 2015. The use of color and a concern for sustainability are common threads in the design and in her approach. Her work has been exhibited broadly, including institutions such as the MoMA, the Philadelphia Art Museum, the Museum of Design in Munich, the Vitra Design Museum in Basel, the Design Museum in London, and the Victoria and Albert Museum, among many others. Finally, Patricia Urquiola has won several international prizes and awards, including the Gold Medal in Fine Arts awarded by the Spanish government, Order of Isabella the Catholic awarded by the King of Spain, and multiple nominations as Designer of the Decade and Designer of the Year by some of the most prominent design magazines, including Wallpaper, Elle Decor International, and many others. Please join me in welcoming Patricia Urquiola, and I hope you really enjoy her lecture.
Hello, just beginning, and I'm gonna move to my presentation. Then I'm gonna open it now. Then I know you will see. You know, the way I have to tell myself to others is always strongly through images and with the connections that we can create between them. For example, I think, especially in this period, I think I had the need, as all of us, to find, especially even better ways to recreate the atmosphere or the thoughts which are in the back of a project. That was, for example, the presentation of a fabric with Kvadrat, a company that we interact for a long time, and was so necessary to play through things which are personal, or little videos done in the studio. And in a moment when all of us, we were these months, each one in different apartments, and we were getting all this work, a kind of patchwork work, but working from many places. Then it's been, I think this period is a strong moment of it's a strong laboratory. I think it's very important for me to understand that the curiosity which is in the back of our research and the possibilities of getting always a synthesis is an argument that is going to evolve even in the new situation we are going to live, because I think many of the things we are living now, they're going to keep partially. I think it's a moment when we are doing a kind of strong shift in future. And I like this image, which is, the fabric in the back was the day we got the first sample of fabric for Moroso, one of my companies. But the image which are at the front, they were from an exhibition we did just 1 year ago, just before the lockdown. It was an exhibition in Madrid for a little fair of design. It was not a very complex thing, but they asked me to tell something about my work. And at the end of the exhibition, there was this memento mori, which was a kind of lifestyle where I was putting, my a little few things which are important for me, and there was the mask already inside. Then after at the end of the exhibition and the lockdown and arrived at the lockdown, we were thinking that was incredible how in part of my mind we were already so aware. Then it was very, very interesting. This little work for me is important. I think now what we are doing is rethinking a lot. I think with our clients inside the team, I work in my house and the studio are together. I live in the first floor, and I am now in the ground floor where we have the studio. And now we are coming partially, and but we were for months, as all of you, each one in home, and I changed everything. Our idea of time changed strongly, and it's an argument that I like a lot. And we did an exhibition a few years ago in Triennale, which is an institution in my city. The name was O'Clock, and it was about the concept of time. And at the entrance, there was a fast track that you could take. Many journalists at the first day, they went into it. But you could, if you get a fast track in an exhibition, perhaps you have an overview, but you get out quite quick, then you can't participate. There was a whole a little bit this mess that you could get inside, and people were going through this entrance, and they could get inside. Then you couldn't cross so easily from one to the other one. It was I think a kind of site-specific entrance, and that was quite interesting. I still have it in my mind, and I think about it a lot in this period. We did a book in the studio, and when we decided to introduce in Milano, I spoke with a friend of me that has a little gallery, Federico Pepe, with an artist, and he does a lot of different things. And we dismantled the book in many pages, and for 1 month I was sending him an image, he was sending me one, and we were playing on it, and we were getting a conversation over the book. And then we introduced the book like this. I think a quote, as I am the designer of my own catastrophe, which is a very interesting quote from Lee Cavaliere. I think in this moment come back to me a lot. I think more and more, I think the moment we are living, we understand how much we're involved in something which is bigger than us. And there is a lot to think in different ways. I think even all our habits, all our behaviors have to change in many ways, for many different reasons. And I think we have to work a lot to become humans. I think before we have we get into these augmented human possibilities. I think I like a lot how artists and many researchers have this incredible woman that is the one I did in America. No, the main research for machine learning by images, or artists like this that is playing with what could be our way to connect with everything. I like this little book that that was from Nick Cave, from Cave Things, in Christmas time, which is nothing. It's a calendar, is a book of birthdays, and me, I'm wrote in the 22, but I born the 23, and I like this. I like a lot. I like a lot. So that I would not have to say beauty impossible to define, a beauty impossible to believe. You know, I just put this song just to make you understand. I like it a lot to see. I knew the song, and I knew that those quotes that come from it. And the idea of, as an architect, as a Spanish architect coming from the north of Spain, the idea of this translation, that this idea that I wish was made of a stone, and I would not have to see. It's a phrase that is so deep in me. This is where I come from. For example, we have beaches. The beach for us is a space that, with the tides, change so much that when I go with my daughters, I come back to my countryside. We can walk in this beach in certain moments of the day because it's enormous. Then the concept of the spatial space is always the same, but at the same time change continuously with the time. Then the idea of temporary, the temporal idea of thinking in space is being always part of my education and part of my roots. And I like that you have to find always which are elements that for you are important. I think when I'm speaking with the students, what I am more interested is how to find a way to make them understand how we continue to understand, we continue to try to understand what we are, or which are the things we have deep into us. This, for example, was a work I loved that I was doing in USA, in America, with Hayward, a company I'm working for 7-8 years. And we were using a technology they had, and they were so technical. It was impossible to make people to get it into the real mood. And we asked different graphic designers to interact with us, and they were working at the same time, all in the same program from different parts of the world, and we were interacting with them too. And that is, I think, the possibilities of the way we have to work, I think was something that I could do and research with Hayward. Hayward was for me a possibility to create new kind of interactions. And for example, here we were introducing a table, and I wanted to focus the people in the neocon on the table in another way. Then I went into internet, and I found Osman Khan. He was a teacher in University of Michigan, and I got by internet a conversation with him, and he came to Chicago, and we created a kind of interactive presentation. I think these kind of things, I think, are the most important things in the back of any relational work. Obviously, I'm an architect. We are working normally in many layers. We work in design, we work in the spaces. For example, that was the space in New York. It was already quite ended, but I didn't like, I disliked many things they were inside. And I said, we need to create an architecture inside the architecture, which is going to be the kitchen and a kind of cafe. And that was in my mind, that this block coming inside, as you're seeing here, and we did it. And those images are always just to make you understand things which are in my memory, and I try to connect with you. Obviously, my work with them has been related to research fabrics, to research the way they could produce them, not only to find a way to include them, or, for example, understand how will be the possibilities in between what we can live physically and what can be the possibilities of digital situations. This is looking like a playful display, but was something more than this, because I always find with the company a way to make them part of a project, to use a technology. In this case is the chroma key technique, which is an old technology, but to use it in a way because that we did the projection of what was happening in the same room just in front of you and in your human scale. Then you were really double. And then this double possibilities was is something I still ask in the studio. We will love to have here to research and to do. I hope many of the ways we will approach not only the bicycle and the spinning situation with with the paysage, all these things which are the trash images I have in my mind. This work was very interesting. I like it a lot, and normally working with Hayward, what we discovered in the last years, and now is more than obvious, that we had to think about not only to approach the seats in another way, to approach the tables in another way, because people will work everywhere in every kind of conditions from any kind of situation. Then that was on our profile and still being, but in my mind, I like this image when we are, working all together, and I remember certain things. We were walking by the beach that now I think there is not anymore. That is an image from the lake in Michigan that has prominent. Then in my mind, I think all this travel and all these empathic travels and situations, they are connected with many arguments. I think always being very curious about the way they are working there. It's a place with another kind of weather, very different. And here, the way they were approaching the team, the way we created a community. I make them many times come to Europe and work with us in different way. And for example, these are photos from very interesting photographers from different parts from USA, that they came there to do photos in an ongoing product, not with just, the ended product that I think is not always so interesting. Or for example, doing this kind of images, saying we can work every way. Then this idea of playing with the concept of what will be more and more our future, no? All these images that I like, that is one of the arguments we were always saying, that the human brain can process 60,000 times faster than words. And that's an argument that I think has been interesting from my beginning. That was my thesis, the image you have in the one in yellow. There was a little drawings I was doing when I was doing the thesis, and there was me in that period. I was doing a kind of carpet. There was a synthesis. There was a carpet that was a kind of a plug that you could connect anything from your, the phone. That was not this phone. That was another kind of much more classical connected phone. There was electricity. Anything was working, but at the same time there was a theoretical part that was very interesting. And it was a kind of rhizome. Rhizomes in my mind, they are. It's a structure that is helping me strongly for a long time. And this is the other image you see is a rhizomatic, is a kind of hyper-connected drawing, just to tell an exhibition I've done about my mentor, Achille Castiglioni. It's a big luck when you get elder in your life, that for some reason, you can do an homage to someone that has been so important for you. He was in the university, and this man from that period, he was already working with his brother. Here you see Pier Giacomo, and they worked in a team. Then the brother went away, and he said that is, for example, that room was the 100 little lanterns dedicated to the 100th anniversary. And he was a big smoker. There was a stair that was keeping you upstairs to a very big space that you see now, with always these different spaces where we were dedicating arguments, different arguments, and they were putting together ideas or concept of projects that they were through that a word or a thought or an element that for me was part of the rhizome that he represented for us. And I obviously mentors are important. I have in some way the classical ones that from my studies that they were physical, because I worked, my first work was with Maddalena de Padova and Vico Magistretti. She was the editor of design, and he was the designer, the main designer in her company. And I was working there for a few years, and it's been incredible to be part of this rhizome of relation. But after there was a woman that helped me at the beginning of my career and helping me to open my studio, which is an argument very important for all of us. Which is Patricia Moroso, and which is the lady in the top. And at a certain moment, we did even for an exhibition a time machine. Because that is when some clients help you to do a time machine, means you can do anything with them, because they are open to any machine that is obviously by the moment still not working. And Charlotte Perriand, we did with Cassina, which is a company I'm working for a few years already, and as an art director. Charlotte Perriand, I think is another woman that has been, we investigated a lot in her work. We are editing a lot of things, and we were helping for an exhibition that was in Paris, but now it's going to be in Japan. It's going to be in other places into the world. And that's an image that I love, her hands doing a research, photographic research in Dubois, Boulogne, I think. And comes from the past, but comes from future too, in my mind. Mentors are not always physical or realistic in some way, but they come from many sides from your mind. Like Deleuze and Guattari, I think, and the idea of philosophy and rhizome and thoughts, I think for me, has been always a big help. As Judith Chicago, a fantastic woman from your country, and which I got in Brooklyn. I had a kind of heart attack when I saw her feminist work done in the 70s, in the end of 70s, I think, is the dinner party that created a kind of triangle of a big place where all the immense women in our society were seated, and they were part of the art piece, working with a group of women, something I will love to someone redo with her and a new dinner party, I think, after all this pandemic. Or, for example, Yoko Ono for me has been always fundamental. I think her idea of she sat quietly, but her body was expressing on the universe is an argument that for me always get me on the place. And there is a woman, very interesting, Spanish with Beatriz Colomina, that is a teacher in Princeton, that she's doing this conversation, like John Lennon and Yoko Ono were doing. And I think all these things they are in my mind in this period. As I think in any of your projects, you can do any kind of combination. There is so strong, there are so many possibilities. That is something that is very important to say. I think Prince is another metaphor of music, as David Bowie, that I've been in their concert. I always hated concerts. I couldn't say it in my generation because everybody loved it to go, and I never liked it. But I went to see them, Prince, even 2 times, because I was, this idea of mixing anything for me was, in the way it was done even, was fantastic. I think Olaf Buriason is represented in the way he's involving us, all his art research is introducing us to not a explaining what are his perception of word. It's the word which is involving us in the perception. Then it's something very, very interesting. And I'm not going to speak too much about his work, but I think it's very interesting for me. It's been it's always a very big help. And Thea Hamilton is something I will love that all of you are interested about. Is a woman doing a kind of performance which are connected with installation, with the site specific at the same time. And this the squash, which was a work she did in London a long time ago, where those is very interesting. It's about an history coming from the 60s about a tribal thing coming from America at the same time, and where the idea of becoming a vegetable could be a value. Those tribal attitudes to become a plant, and she represented in her imaginary, in her idea, and I think you should search for her. I think the rhizome today connect us with many other circumstances, obviously, and we have to remember, all of us, that intelligence is universal. Is universal. Any alive element can be quotient and intelligent, and we know that. That is just gonna go through a few projects we've done in all those years, just to make you understand. There is a part of me which is been through, for example, this is a work done in Africa with the table and the stools with a man he was really interested and got me in his process, and we found a way to work together with a big distance. Or this tab that was a project done with a good friend, which is working always in inquiring about the way we live, and we work in certain ways, and he always came with the right conversation, and we did a lot of research. His Agape, his company, or for example, this work was with Rosenthal, and Rosenthal was in that period asking us to do a collection. I was saying to them, I will not do only one research. Perhaps we're going to do different researches, and we are going to put different elements in different plates and in different products. And all this argument that for me was very clear, for them was a big problem. After a certain time, they changed the big manager and came and said, we are going to do as you want. And then as I'm a person that I'm very open to do empathic travels with people, but I need that they understand which is the argument we can explore together. If it's not, I get frozen. Like that can happen too. Then it's something that people working with me, they know well. That was another research. I liked it a lot. We were working on this antibody armchair that was just to find a way to just use a very, very simple structure, work in another way with all the elements. This is, for example, a work done with glass. We have reflections and arguments very simplified. Or with this company, Glas Italia, we are doing a lot of research in how can we use in different ways all the technologies that we can use in glass. And I was speaking the last days because I was putting the images, because they are always calling me and saying, I have this, what do you think, Patricia, what can we do? And then I like this very sympathetic, very simplified, natural way to speak with. For example, this was a first research done with Flos, another Italian company. We work in light. And I was coming back from Japan with this little tool, and saying to them, I would like to explore this flexibility of bamboo, then to translate to technology. And we did it. And we explore the identity of light and the colors. This was a nice research, didn't come strong product. Sometimes happen this, but in your mind, in your work, it's still strong. We work many times in bidimensional work. I like fabrics, and I like working in carpeting with people which are open to do. Or that was a work done in Japan, or that work is working with an incredible technology for ceramic, then finding a way to to refine comunque something that was very technical, but at the same time could have many possibilities to research. Or you see a carpet where we were working with all the leftovers of silk and different materials and wool, and then recreating a language in relation with the company, or a sofa done with Cassina, which was coming from those stones. So they were from the same period, those two. This is coming back to another argument for me is very important. Sometimes happened to me to do some lectures to do some work, to do a seminar as this one in France. We've been 1 week working in a place that the landscape was incredible. And I was saying, we are not going to be inside the big building because it was raining part of the days. But we are going to, if we have this landscape so incredible, we are going to get inside. We're going to work with nothing else than what we find. Then the students came out with the incredible work. This girl, she got this space where all of us seeing the sunshine, because it was the special space in all these main woods and main park that you really could have an incredible view of the sunset. And we were all sitting on all these things that she created day by day with all these little things, and with incredible sensibility. Oh, this is an image I make a lot of fun seeing it, because remind me a day we were in Costa Rica that happened. I think one of my last travels, the last year, and we were in summer. I went with my family because we wanted to understand, to get into this deep, and I was touching those old, the eldest ferns that are so incredible, and it was a moment of a lot of energy. As for example, here we were with a friend, Giulio Ridolfo, that we worked a lot in many research with Moroso in a kind of woods which are nearby Patricia Moroso, a person that we work for a long time. And we created those, we wanted to do photos of this research of fabric. And then we created this installation. We were with all the dogs, the family, the kids, everyone, a whole weekend, all of us jumping on the trees, trying to do a lot of work, and we got it. I think it's like now, no, we were trying to find, the beauty of simple nature in the middle of a path of work. That is another image that those images I like to put together. That has been a work done in Singapore. That I was at a hotel, and done with Woha, which is a studio from there. And it was very nice, the idea of growing in interrelation with other studios that they are doing architecture. I love this building they've done, which is done with, now it was red the first day, the structure, and now it's already a green building, and it's growing, and it's going to change each year. And I always ask them, send me photos, how it's now, how it's changing. And we created inside a hotel, and an apartment is a complex building. But the way it's been thought, and it's been the whole project to participate to this has been very interesting. That is when a stone was from one of the beaches from where I live, where the stone changed color because the water changed completely different elements each day till the red line. The water invade the cave, and only for few hours in the day you can get inside. Then it's something of the secrets I teach it, or I discover with my husband coming to my countryside. Here is a work we've done in the Lake of Como. Is a work we are working now. We are doing adding a part of another building. We did the architecture, we did the interiors, we worked in everything from bathtub, from handles, anything. And we worked in a very interesting way in using only the materials from the lake, working, using technologies adapted to the place, using, really doing a kind of, a lot of conversations in relation to have a very sustainable and to have a process that was really appropriate to the place. And we're still working on this work. Or for example, this is an image I always like, the son of one of my clients, finding all the pieces of marble they have in the company that they don't use because they have problems. And I said, I'm going to work with what people don't want. And we were doing the table you see in the middle because we were putting other layers of doesn't come to me now the word, but it's working with what a problem or what in some way leftovers from the company, making them understand that it was not a problem. They had a earthquake, and they called me and said, well, perhaps with you we can do something after the earthquake that crossed the company a few years ago. And that was the work we did with all the leftovers that came from that dramatic situation. And we did a very impressive work that everybody were involved. I like it a lot how the whole company were involved in this project. Then is the most interesting thing that I can tell you from my relation with them. Or for example, this was 2 years ago already. Another work we've done, very interesting, with Rosanna Orlandi here in the city of Milano, and was working with material, which is all recycled versus upcycled. Then upcycling materials all the materials you see here, they are recycled. Then we created the fabric, we created all the things. And my idea was how to create this crazy, stupid long arm chair, which is coming from the future, not coming from our idea of aesthetics, classical that clients asked me, and working more from sneakers and coming from many arguments that I like. I like these images, this moment where we got the prototype that day. I like it. Francesca was there trying the piece, and she was involved. Or working with many other architects, such as Kalida, was a kind of work done in Barcelona, but Benedetta Tagliabue, a very good friend architect, that she included me to do the inside, and it's a work just to create a space which is used by people with cancer. That is a space like a club. It's an incredible, intelligent project that I've been involved with, and I appreciate it a lot. That was the exhibition we did in Madrid, just to make you see some images. It was interesting because we were doing all these layered rooms. There were 5 rooms, but one room, the last one, we were including all the images you see in this wall. There were the images in little films which are in my phone. And they were part of my memory. Then we put things very easy that I had used in the last time. And we were sharing a kind of dismantle situation, beginning from a lifestyle that was with a big order till the last space that was like a little bit explode. Was interesting work. Cassina is, they are more or less 5 years. We are working together. Our direction means to be concerned about a company through many other ways. At the beginning, I didn't understand how important will be and how lucky it will be and how interesting it will be to have the luck to look at the company from many other ways, that not only as a designer doing your piece of design, because that make a much less egoist and fixed narrative or dialogue, and much more open way to approach the company. I like it a lot because we did an exhibition about them, and it was the 90 years of the company, and I said, well, it's Cassina 9.1.0, like with a metaphor, a digital metaphor, saying that we are look to the future. And we did an exhibition with everything was interacting with the building. It was a building in the city, was a new building done by Herzog de Meuron, and we just went inside the building, just quite, they couldn't open the building. They were inside doing the exhibition. I was very happy to be, to make everybody come into Sala del Mobile to participate to a building that nobody could be before. And it was very interesting because we were putting different installations, different elements, and all these pinky, stupid walls, or, so this strong color, where you were coming through was reacting to you. That there were happening a lot of interesting things in relation, and that was I like a lot many times to make you understand the installation, but how many things happen through the net echo in the way you can approach. Then the way we were connected with the world with this installation was a way thought in with a digital approach. I think was interesting too. With the company, we went with the same installation through the world that was in Singapore, and then we recreated part of this argument always in different ways. I work as architect, and I work with them to rebuild the factory, because the factory is an old factory that we could work and we can clean and we can work as architects inside, and we did a lot of work inside. I'm very happy about that. Now we are gonna, for example, I was always discussing about the distance between two teams that for me they are fundamental and they should work together, and there was a conversation, but now it became reality. We are gonna do another part of the building, and I think from the inside of the company it's very important to make this to change all these things, because they give strong value that then you can sport, you can grow it as roots, as personal roots. We do work, we do design too, because it's part of my work with them. Or we did architecture. We did the showroom in the city. It was an old showroom, 50 years old, and then we did a cupola that was part of the building. We worked with this new connection. We doubled the space. Then we normally work in many layers. That is part of my way of approaching my work. This is, for example, another thing. I'm asking to digital designers to participate in our work. That was, for example, for one, just for one where we were doing the installation, and there was the physical installation that you see here. And I was doing all these videos with speaking with digital designers that were, one was in South America and one was in Barcelona, people around the world, and they were working with us in a very simple way through the net, and then involving the company with other kinds of another ways of approaching the way to tell the company. That make me think about this work. I show it sometimes. This is a work we never ended because we didn't have even the money. We did with a little gallery and my friend Federico Pepe. And this immersive work, we are seeing here how is the display is a kind of Uncanny Valley, an Uncanny Valley immense. But when you were doing the VR, using your mask and getting inside the installation, you were perceiving an immense space, but the gallery was very, very, very little. Then you were in a really, we were thinking in hospitals, in places where people and children and people, they can move and they can be, as we are in many conditions now. We were understanding how much this immensity could be a reactive thing, or could be even a place you could be afraid, not afraid. And this Uncanny Valley had a community of, I will say, the most stupid inhabitants we could find, and were, don't think me, I'm an object. They were just chairs, and you see them, fluffy pinky chairs, and we put them with AI, the possibilities of being, they were two-handed. Each one had a combination of, they could be afraid, they could be curious, they could be aggressive, and each one had a reaction different in relation with you. Me, I got inside the program different times, and they were coming after me through the valley because they knew me already. Then how many possibilities, how many possibilities we can explore this project. I think we will work in stages. I think we will get money. I am very open to work on this, but just I still think that the interfaces we can get, they are immense, and they are always from the micro, like the the ladybug in my hand, or for example, seen from Olaf Aureliusson that he did now a new exhibition. Sometimes the river is the bridge. That is a title I love a lot, and is now in Tokyo. And he did a conversation with Timothy Morton, that I know is in Houston, is teacher in Rice University nearby you, and I'm very interested in his conversations with Olafur, because he's always saying, you know, in an era where we have the algorithm is coming in any case from our memory from the past. Even anything which is going to be all the technologies we are creating at the end comunque comes from Anthropocene. But the art can be the only, I think, connection we can have with the future. You can create comunque. And then it's very interesting. I will love that you get interested in them, because I think they do a kind of research that is helping me in this situation. That is just a little thinking as an architect in my home, looking in my kitchen in springtime to my, which will be the new shelter. I was in that new shelter for me, you know, the shelter, the mask became for me immediately as an architecture. And those little playful thoughts about thinking the way, what can we get from what we are living in this moment, you know? And I was, I've been connected with a very interesting museum, the Maxi from Rome. And they asked us to do a little work, to add, to work with Instagram and to do Casamondo. There were different architects, designers, and artists doing an argument relate to the situation we are living. Mine was about ubiquo private home. The idea of my little avatar, that I call it up, was living in, and we were creating with my team, each one in different apartments, drawing and changing things. And I like it a lot because to do this little construction of my avatar, having moments of relax, connected with the world, of working, creating a new material, which is alive, obviously. And all these things, I was discussing and speaking with, I was alone in my apartment doing at the same time with 2 or 3 girls which are working with me in this. Then I like it a lot the way we approached the project. At the same time, that is a courtyard. We have a courtyard in the middle of this building, and we had to use it at the showroom. Then we were doing this carpet, then we were putting, and we were doing the photos from the roof, and then we were trying to use all the possible energies we had, which were not so many. And I like it a lot, the way we were finding. For example, this is, my clients were sending me those images, putting a camera in the roof and in the ceiling, and trying to tell me what about if I like it, if I didn't like, and if it was okay. Or for example, doing more effective ways of proposing a product, like in this case, which is a seat done for Capellini. And we were saying, at the end is like a dress, it's a dress of just a little very frame. And then we do a dress you can dismantle, you can work in a certain way. It's like and all these conversations, we introduce them through the images. Then for me was important. My team at the end, we are not so many now. This is the team of design. We were very proud being together. That now is not so easy. That is a photo from the rooftop of my studio. Not always plenty of people. These days now we come back. We are working in little teams. We are finding ways. We are finding ways. I love it. This photo we did before all this moment of breakdown that I don't know. We created we wanted to have a kind of portrait of all of us thinking, and it was a very playful moment. And just for ending, I just say you the museum of the NGV is a museum in Melbourne. Very interesting. That I met them in a few travels before, and they asked me to participate and help as a designer in one of the installations they had. They had there's a main room where they I'm going to show you here. They have a main room where there is this incredible ceiling done by Leonard French. And they had some Ottoman in the floor for a long time, and it was dismantled, and they wanted to do something for the Triennale that they opened in Christmas time, and in the middle of all this pandemic. And I said, but I'm going to send you something I have, but no, we do a little site specific in some way, we can. And then we created this woolen island, which is a recycled woolen island, done with this all these materials that we are researching on them. And we said that the first gesture will be to find some socks on the floor. Then they invite you to get on them and then to look at the art piece. Then I like it a lot, the way we were waiting for this, because what happened is that in this moment with the pandemics, the logistics were dramatic. Then they opened the exhibition in December, but my work arrived only 1 week or 2 weeks ago, 1 month later, because it was complex in this moment. Then what I liked a lot was that we had to discuss and wait for this in a different way. Everything was much more complex. And when they opened it, definitely they did a new opening. And I think it's been another. I'm quite ending now. Just to say, I've been in Houston, but that was in Arizona. Travel, one of the physical travels. Sometimes I like to put my, the travels around your room, the most digital ones, to the more physical one. When I think about you in Texas, I was remembering this travel we did in Arizona, and that was like it was a fake, fake panoramic place where we are looking, but it was real. I like a lot this idea of speaking with you in this digital situation, which really I still suffer strongly. Then I hope I'm going to find even ways to be less timid and to do it in a better way. But you make me remember this travel that it's still been in my mind. I don't know if it's virtual or it's physical, but it's an incredible circumstance. I remember the day we were doing this map to go to Arcosanti with this city, with this dream of research of a certain period, and I hope you go to Arcosanti, because it's a place to understand this frozen utopia, in the middle of our and then just I say goodbye, and I leave you with just a little schema. I call it get into the rhizome or into my rhizome, how to share something with you. For me, let your amphibian roots grow. Listen through your antennas, only through yours, and get them connected with the enlarged situation. The project is always in between journeys. You find a lot of projects even in between the journeys of research with others. The empathy must be your compass, I think is the best, best compass I think exists. Build your community at micro and macro distances. That I think is very important. Select what is the way you want to connect and to your local and global ways, and create positive contaminations. I think positive contaminations are fundamental for me. Avoid don'ts, that's fundamental too. Break a prejudice every day. I always said that if I could be now telling you, from my age, how to put myself as with my adolescent part connected to the net to arrive to you in some way. And intelligence is universal. We have to remember everything and remember to breathe and smile. And ciao. Ecco finito.
Thank you very much, Patricia, for a wonderful, wonderful lecture, and for your generosity sharing with us all your design influences and inspiration. I think we're going to open it up for questions in the audience. So those of you in the audience, if you want to ask a question, you can either write it in the chat or raise your hand and in the participant panel, or just turn on your microphone. This is a great moment also to turn on your cameras again, so poor Patricia engage with human faces instead of like just your names. So yeah, feel free to ask questions to, yeah, please. I see, I can get started. I see also that Michelle has also a question. Do you wanna, I think since nobody is starting, maybe Michelle, do you wanna start?
Sure. Thank you, Patricia. I think I want to be you. If I could just trade.
It's not a very good idea, believe me.
But I was really fascinated in really this sort of difference between the digital project and the tactile project of your work. And it included this sort of remarkable way that you even designed this lecture. It wasn't collage, it really was this sort of pushing and pulling of different fields of view, of different depths, of different ways of sort of engaging with this world that we can only appropriate on a two-dimensional screen. And it gets me back to your own work, because it seems as though you have a very rich landscape of different ways that you approach a project from a distance. You had your avatar, there were automata, the way that you were dealing with AI, there even that sort of change of viewpoint to the ceiling. Each of these were about the distance of the body, so not the tactile, in the development of your design. And we spend an awful lot of time talking about the digital versus the hand, and we often think about the hand in terms of its direct tactility at a particular scale, and we think about the digital in terms of scales of representation. And it seems to me that you have flipped that for you, the digital is actually the way, the different sort of modes of digital examination are the way that you sort of enter into your project. But I want to see if I can understand a little bit more about how you conceptualize and theorize your approach to how you use the digital in your design work.
Yes, I think when new designers come in the studio, or architects, is something that I am always, for me, the way we approach the work in the studio is natural, is our way, but when I see a new one coming to the studio, I see a first period that they don't know. I said they don't know if to become absolutely nerd or to become absolutely physical working with, and then they understand how. I really think I still, I am from a generation that has been educated in a real analogical way. Then I have this lack to share with the people who's working with me. That is my circumstance. In another way, I arrived to all the digital approach for any condition. Obviously, for drawing in architecture is being necessary from our beginning, and even in my generation is part of my work. Not in the university. In the university, we were at the beginning of working in Madrid and in Italia in a digital way. Then it was with the Tecnigrafo ancora. Then you can imagine how complex is the passage, but I think how fantastic it is too. Then in another way, I'm like a child, because I approach digital things. You arrive to me with a proposal of something with any kind of virtual research. If they explain well, and I go to bed and we think about, and then we want to approach in a project, I got immediately in that in a very easy way. Then it's not what I think is. I think, you know, the architect, the architects in the studio, our architectural side has more method. We try to have a more severe method because we need it for organizing our complexity. But, you know, me, even with the architects, I don't work only, you know, doing buildings. Our work is in a scale which is, let us do a lot of experimentation. Then in the moment, anything I'm gonna do, and we are reproducing in a digital way, I want to do a new surface because I want to do the material, and I'm speaking with a company which is gonna create with us something that I want to choose because I don't want to use the normal one they are proposing to me. We don't know how to represent it a digital way. Then many times architects are saying to me, then what we do? Because if we don't have the material and color, then it's nice, all this kind of thing. But I am still thinking, I think our possibilities is always to change, you know, to go out and come back from another point of view. And an argument that for me is very important is to understand that anyone is coming in the studio has a point of view, but what I'm interested is that we get we understand how to approach the project in a different way. Obviously I know we are in a moment we know the big problem is that we know that we are in front of a future where all my education, anything I've done is a disaster. Then we have to find ways to. It's not only that you have to share with us. Then we have to invite. We have to in Cassina. All our conversations they go in how all the materials, the products they are selling. We have to understand how to rethink the process of many of them, how to not break all the process, because that is not the way if you want to do the art direction of a company. But you have to find a way with them to focus, especially that we have to move the way we are producing them. For example, when we began this period, we introduced the product we have done in April, May, but we were already really aware on how to be more sustainable, not only how to be Cassina from another point of view. And I think in future, people with a kind of, with a name or with a responsibility, they have to understand very well how to move and to change the way they proceed. And the products we were introducing, and we are working already this year, we are changing the way we are doing all the molds, the way we are using the material inside. There is a big revolution inside the company, and we are not even telling too much because we don't want they understand that perhaps this is going to give us some problems. But I think is the most interesting thing. I think we all understood that there is a lot of work to do. The homeworks are incredible. And in those homeworks, though, the digital side that you say is part of the approach of communication. If we were not with a very open-minded way of doing a drawing in my studio, then I'm speaking to someone which is in home with the person in Cassina, then speaking with the commercial. We are really doing a big effort of communication. And that is the most important thing, I think, in this moment. How much we are trying to be human and rethink our way to approach each other. Then it's not so important for me the skills or the digital skills, is how much they are credible and open, the people. I remember with Osman Khan. Osman Khan was a fantastic. I was speaking with him by the net. I was saying to him, I need that can you come to Chicago? Because he was in another city not so far away. And if you come, I introduce you to them and we just do a little laboratory. We do a workshop very easy. And he came and we did it. You know what I mean? In this moment, there are a lot of these things that we have to create. I don't know. Then it's not so important the skills, because at the end, all what we have done is plenty of problems. Echo, that is the problem. That is the argument. Then we have to be very, I think, so I don't like to say more, Echo. I mean, for example, I'm thinking Ragnar, Cartenson. He did a work that is The Visitors, that did win a lot of awards, and he did it in 2012. And he created this art work using many kind of ways of creating art. Then he was musician, but he was an artist too. And then they went in a place in America that is not important. It's a house that is with a big history in the back. And then they went in many rooms of the space, and they created a work, a musical composition, all together, but connected by the net in between the rooms, but not seeing each other. And there are many ways we have to find a way to be creative, and that is, I think, only from creativity and a more artistic attitude, I think we can find little solutions in this moment, I think.
Patricia, we have one question from a student. Is Luisa Gil Fandino. She asks, what would be good advice for students to nurture an interdisciplinary practice? How can they pursue an interdisciplinary practice in your view?
Me, I believe strongly in that. I believe strongly. Then how to do it? I have two daughters, and they ask me to, and it's very complex to explain. Obviously, how to nurture your personal possible talents. It's an argument very complex too. How to nurture your personal passions. I think the best way is always the little instrument, the Touch Me, they know that you can buy now in home, and you can connect it to some plants and fruits in your home and play music through it, which is, I got it in my it was my Christmas present. I got because I wanted to play and to find a way in my team. There are a few musicians, just a few, and I want to create that we get connected with all the things we are doing, and all the plants and things that which are surrounding us, to do something when we will come out of this period. Then what I want to say to you as a student, get your own culture. I've been always doing all my connection, my interest. If you cannot travel in a physical way, there are many other ways to do it. The net is a big helper. You get and read, listen to any kind of conversation. Get into your own research and be proud of this, there is no formula. There is no formula. When I say the rhizome, get into the rhizome. That is the argument. Then the rhizome has not a beginning and an end. You can get from many sides. That is the good news. And you will create your community of contacts. I think we don't have to be afraid in this moment. I would like to be young and not to have all the luggage of habits and behaviors that are have to destroy it. And I try to destroy it every day, Then this is a good thing to be young in this moment. I think it's going to be a strong change in these years. We knew from the digital situation that the world would change, but we didn't knew we will do a laboratory so strong as we are doing now. Then we're going to come out, I think, in a period that we have to work a lot, because we have a knowledge about our circumstance, which is dramatic, as we know. But dramatic doesn't mean that you cannot live it. Then perhaps it's very real. If you see the news today, from from Russia to Birmania, what else? What else we can say today? It's not interesting what I'm saying. Just put television and see Birmania and Russia, then and begin to think about.
Another student is asking, Shruti Liar. She's also asking about a similar issue, but maybe more specifically, how how you started to branch into different design disciplines. Like if you started with architecture, how was that beginning of your career when you started to be?
Me, I did a disruption. There's always, sometimes they ask me in an interview, I come from a bourgeois family, and I didn't have a big discussion with them. Then I still having a strong relation with my mother. She's a clever woman, and my father was quite interesting for a certain way. But I did a disruption. I went to Madrid to study. That was a normal disruption because you were coming from the north of Spain. You were going to Madrid. Then it was still. But at a certain moment, I went to Italy, and in the middle of my studies. Then it was a disaster because I couldn't end my university. Then everybody was saying she's going to lose architecture, but I didn't lose it. I just needed to do a kind of disruption, very strong, and to move. I did it physically. Today, perhaps we are going to find many other ways to do it, but I needed that. Then what means when you do a disruption in one side of your personality or your way of living, you lose the protection. And then I lose the protection from something. I began in that period to be in Italy was like to go to Australia. I go today. You are more, I think, more connected. We are in Australia with Milano than where I was in. When I went there, I was far away. Finito. And that distance today is not anymore. It's an old way to speak about disruption. Then I did my disruption in my way, but you have to find your disruptions. It's obvious that I have two daughters, and it's an argument that I suffer, but I know it's important. I know.
Are there any more questions?
And read me, or read through the net, interpret your idea of reading. But I think because you get lost in the story that someone is telling you without sometimes even without images. Perhaps because the images are the kingdom where I feel more comfortable. You see, I try to be sincere, but I suffer speaking in English, and in this condition, you see me. And I will speak by images much better than this. I will be like the machine, all this. My head connects in another way. That is very important. Find the way you can grow your talents, no? And then music. Music, I think, it must be. I was speaking about pop music because I wanted to just connect with the three things, which could be in a moment interesting. But I think music find a way. Even a timid way, but a stupid timid way. Find always a way to get protected by music. I think. There are many things that can be helpers, like big helpers when you are young, because you don't know if you're going to get something strong, but it's not so important. It's that you understand you are in a path. I think in a path and finding your disruptions, I think that's life. Then perhaps you are going to be an architect very different than me. I hope, capito. I'm so oldish. It's evident that I speaking with students, with young people, with the people even arriving to the studio. I think you cross this studio just to go out and kill the mother, obviously. Obviously.
Well, thank you so much, Patricia. It's been really wonderful to have you, and we loved your both images and words as a real stream, no, of ideas. Thank you so much. Most students go to class now. We have class before and after design studio, so of them, that's why some of them already left.
No, perhaps we all end like, this idea of Liam Young, of, the planet city, all together together in a city where we will do all our needs, we will create in a technology, because we will find many ways. We know already how to do it. If we wanted, we could, get energy from all the right way, in all the right ways, with the food we need, we will be everything together, and then we will live wild the rest of the world. I hope this utopia, or dystopic utopia, or uncanny utopia that is part of us, all the Rem Koolhaas thinking, the countryside perspective, that is another way. Then we have in front of us a lot of new questions. And my work is piccolino, molto piccolino in relation with all these fantastic thoughts.